Hello, 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 and welcome to Shared Space with Quida and Chap. Today we have the lovely Miss Hip Hop Cleopatra, aka Brit. How you doing today, Brittany?
Hi guys, how are you?
Lovely, lovely. So I am Laquita Chansey, the founder and director of Baltimore Homes. Chap, Mr. Chaplin, tell us what do we have going on in the community? Who are you, sir? Introduce yourself.
I am Chaplain David Lovelace. I'm volunteer chaplain to Baltimore City through the police department. I will say my comments made on this show don't necessarily represent the police department, so I don't lose my volunteer position because they're not paying me. um, but we do a lot. We do a lot of partnerships. I have a nonprofit, Power Fest Baltimore, which me and Lou have been having some really good meetings, and we got a huge event coming up in September. Now we're honing in on a date in the space. But I don't want to give out too much information until we have solid information to give. We got a really big festival coming, so that's gonna be exciting. And then we partner with Baltimore Homes and pretty much anybody in the community doing stuff. If they reach out with a need, we do everything, whatever it takes to meet that need. So yeah, sometimes we go too far, and that's okay too because needs get met. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me.
Big facts, big facts. So Brittany happened to tune in on Instagram several months ago when we were working in West Baltimore, cleaning up the
Oh
park.
yeah,
And I
it got
think
cold.
Officer Lee had popped by that time. And we were chit chatting and such. But Britt, tell us, what do you have going on? Tell us about this Hip Hop Cleopatra. Introduce yourself, my love.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, thank you. So, Hip Hop Cleopatra started out as my penmanship name back in 2010 when I first started my first um, blog, right? Doing lifestyle and journalism, music journalism. And so I started that kind of back when blogging was the thing to do. And it just kind of evolved. I took it with me with everything else that I was doing in the marketing space. Um, so yeah, I started out doing that. I am now a professional brand marketing manager and digital marketing consultant. So kind of working with folks to how so they can kind of create their marketing mix and start their you know, maybe kick off a launch or create a plan for their overall strategy, things like that. I do that professionally. And then on the side, we were talking a little bit earlier, we are talking about some of the hobbies we like to do. And one that we share is in gaming. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. I love it. And so you and Chap were talking about gaming because
Yeah.
that's not my ministry. Like that's not my ministry. But like lo and behold, my partner, my boyfriend, he is Brit knows a gamer. Okay, like plays in tournaments and wins like worldwide thing. But child cheese, I don't. So yeah,
Why
so
isn't he on the show? Where's he at? We
one
Yes.
one day, someday, we
all
gonna
right,
bring them on.
all
But
right,
right now,
all right.
it's Women's History Month, so it won't be during March. That's one thing I can say. Yep. So Britt, yep, you know, I know. So you guys were talking about some of the gaming world and what were we? Is it Twitch? We were
Yeah.
Yeah,
talking about. So you guys tell me about that because I know the last time we were talking with somebody about Twitch, they were saying that's all they do. They stream all of their stuff to Twitch. They have followers, and from what I understand, he was getting paid too.
Hmm.
yeah. So I'll comment real quick that I'm excited to have a guest that is below the generation that doesn't game. Right, a lot of our guests are experienced people in the community, and they don't know they don't know what they call a Nintendo an Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So it's so cool having a guest that's part of that culture and community. Baltimore and DMV, if you don't know it, Brittany is actually internationally known for our video game, our fighting games, right? Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Guys fly in from Japan, Korea, all over the world to play kids from the DMV. It's kind of like we're really good at dirt bikes on asphalt in Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're really good at Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. It's very, very huge culture and unique to Baltimore. So
why do
that's
you think that is, or why has anyone?
oh, I can tell you why it is, because we are highly competitive. Coming up in the 80s and 90s, when like the consoles were really booming, there was tons of arcades, and so you could go to arcades almost anywhere in the city and
Mm,
compete on the spot. As kids were, we're hustling and getting our consoles at home. We were competing at home.
mm-hmm.
There's just a whole generation that was just, we grew up around the TV and the console. Um, Specifically in the DMV, right? Like one of the things that was available to us, if nothing else, was the video games. Um, for instance, my little one of my I call him my little brother, not blood, but one of my little brothers, Josh Bryant. He's known as Vortex, and he used to be Prodigy when he was little, and now they call him Vortex. And when he was like 15, because he was knee high when we were playing Street Fighter on the arcade, and he was bugging us at home to play Street Fighter, and we taught him. He went on to be like one of the top 5 players in the world at Evo in Vegas. Like
Mm.
he's one of the greatest street. He's still well known in the community, even though he hasn't played competitively in a while. He's just a very elite player because he just hung out with us, right? Just hanging out with the big cousins, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and it's a really cool community to be a part of. And so tell us what have you discovered, or what do you do in your gaming and streaming?
Yeah. So, well, I'll say this. My introduction into the gaming space was very early on because as you talk about it being strong in the DMV, I remember as a kid going with my brother to like Blockbuster, right? And
Mhm.
they at that age, at that time, they would host these gaming tournaments and we would be in there playing Super Mario or I even think he won one time then, right? And at the time, people didn't really, and still people think it's a waste of time, right? It's kind of like, why are we gaming? But there's so many different aspects of the gaming world that interest me. And I would say during the pandemic, I got back into the mix because we were all sitting at home, right? And we were all kind of trying to figure it out. And I got into this game called Animal Crossing, where I think as a kid I used to play things like Harvest Moon and
Mhm.
the Mario games, and I had the early PlayStation One. I don't know, we had Sega
Where,
Genesis.
what part of town are you from?
I'm from Baltimore.
Well, what part of town?
Oh, I'm
I already
from
know that.
West Baltimore.
Okay, okay. I I have this unique story that I was able to supply PS1s to like the whole east side of Baltimore when
Wow.
they came out for like $40 a piece.
What? Oh my
And
god.
that's all I can say, because I don't want
I
to
was
inflict
about to
anything.
say, what truck or store was
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
looted to do that, but don't say
I
any
plead the fifth.
names.
I plead the fifth. But there's grown folks in the community today that still talk about it when I go to cookouts and stuff. They're like, "Remember when you?" Yeah, I remember when I flooded the east side with PS1s. I
Yes.
sure do. Yep.
Okay, listen.
Yeah. And
Listen.
that's the thing. It's a vibe, right? It's a culture. It's a whole culture in Baltimore, man. We just listen to you talk about it. But go ahead, please continue. I
No,
didn't mean to
no,
interrupt.
yeah, no. I'm learning because I at that time I wasn't paying attention to it, right? It wasn't on my radar, but I remember being a part of it. I remember, watching my brother's very much into gaming, and I remember like, it might be like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he would knock on my door at night sometimes and be like, "Hey, Britt, you want to see me? I'm about to beat this board on Zelda. You want to see me play?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So those little moments I remember, right? I remember the magazines. I remember everything about it,
Before the internet.
right? Before the internet, exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
so jumping into, I had been looking for a game like Harvest Moon. I love Switch, so that was my last console that I got, and it was so that I could play Mario. One of the latest Mario's that came out on the Switch when it first came out. And since then I've been playing Mario on there, right? And so when Animal Crossing came out, I jumped into it and it was like a different experience. So I'm like, wait, this is how the games are now? It's totally different than what it was, right? So I started getting into it a little bit more, and they were looking for innovative things to do and how to reach our customer. Um, During the pandemic was definitely something I was searching for. And in the gaming space, it was bubbling, but it wasn't just gaming. So I want to expand the thought. It's not just gaming, it's live stream programming. It's live stream programming that
Mm.
really always has been a part of the marketing stream. And it's been, we've been testing it. We've been looking at it when Facebook first had Facebook Watch. And now we're at live and Instagram Live. It's live stream programming. Twitch saw an astronomical amount of number increase, right, during the pandemic because everyone is at home watching, but it's nothing new to us. We've been watching things on our phones and going live. So now people have figured out how to sit at home and create some professional programming. Look at us now, right? So for me, it was getting into marketing and figuring out how to touch consumers through live stream programming, and gaming and music at this point in time is definitely fusing. We're finding that that's being fused together a lot more, and figuring out ways to connect with our audience in that space. So that was really what got me into the space.
That's super cool. And just to comment on Robert's comment that he shared, and you had mentioned it earlier, and I didn't take time to comment, but when I was a kid, yeah, gaming was like it was horrible, right? If I was gaming, you thought I was like smoking a joint in front of my dad or something. But now in today's culture, kids are getting you can get a scholarship to an Ivy League college to play electronic sports.
Yep.
You can travel 40 minutes down to DC and you can make six figures as a 14, 15-year-old student of a game, and you can join an Overwatch league or LCS or other games within these leagues and make 6, 7 figures playing video games. So, even if you're just streaming as a hobby, and to encourage you and encourage myself, because I love gaming. There's not too many games I'm really an elitist at because I have to do adult things.
Right.
But what happens is you don't have to be good, necessarily elite or good at the game. What happens is, like, I try to encourage my sons, especially Dougie, because Dougie's really elite at this Minecraft player versus player. It's called Egg Wars. He's like really, really good, but he doesn't have the confidence as a kid. So I try to tell him, you don't even have to be good, but if you just play the game and stream it and talk and just chat, like, it's your character that sells, right? Like, you could be the best in the world, but if you're boring to watch, no one's going to watch. You just stream and allow and be consistent and allow your people to find you.
Can I add on to that thought and expand that thought real quick? You're really just kind of talking about like really figuring out your space in gaming, period, right? It doesn't matter if you're the best at what it is.
Right.
So one of the things that I fell in love with was an initiative where we're kind of focusing on the esports really expanding in the college realm, right? And students being able to go to school, and to your point, get scholarships for esports, having it recognized, and conferences like CIAA, NCAA as an actual sport, right? Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
So now they're figuring out the money, but also taking it back a little bit too. Your point about DMV being special. Well, we have Bethesda here. At some point, we had Epic here. We have a ton. I don't think people realize how many gaming studios are right here in our backyard, right? And Bethesda Softworks was just purchased by Microsoft. That's huge.
Right.
That's huge. So I think that may also, to your point, have an influence in why this area is special when it comes to gaming, and how we could really capitalize off of that. On the college realm, professional sports realm, there's a lot of opportunity. But to your point about just jumping into the space, what I think people, to expand the thought, I think people should think about is all the other opportunities in the gaming industry that exist, right? Not just gaming itself or you yourself being the player, but you, the marketer, understanding how to do video game marketing, understanding gamification in general, right? You being the sponsorship and partnership person. Who works the deals out when it comes to Anderson Park showing up in Fortnite now, right? Or who works out the deal when you get the new emote? Who does that? That's a person in gaming, right? Engineering, designing the games, all of those different aspects of gaming. And so that's when we're talking about now access to education, access to information, access to programs that say, hey, you can go to school for gaming and you can get a job. That's now what needs to really be, that story should be told a little bit more. And then to your point, now your son is not worried about being the elite gamer at a specific Madden game or Call of Duty. So he can win tournaments. He can play, and he knows how to cut a check, and he knows how to break a deal, right? I think that's what people should be looking at, because those programs exist and they're starting to come out as well.
So Britt, with all that being said, didn't you all do something with Morgan like back in the fall? Or can you tell us a little bit about that event and how all of the different marketing things tied in with that?
Yeah, so we partner with a nonprofit called Community. So shout out to Community, they're pretty cool. They are a nonprofit out of Atlanta that is really changing the game when we're talking about esports and HBCUs, providing access, expanding programs, building helping to build labs at these universities. So Howard, Morgan State, Johnson C. Smith, all now colleges that offer esports program and have an esports team and a place for these students to compete.
Well, I like what you said about the lab too, because it's not just about the athletes. And my son has discovered this. He set up a server for his gaming for the battlefield. My other son, Charlie, and when he's not home, he deputizes other people to manage the server. He's got a couple people who are students in college right now for like graphic design. They designed his logo.
Nice.
One kid likes doing video editing, and he created this community on Discord and Twitch, right?
Yeah.
And Discord is really for gaming. Discord is a huge way to connect to your community, and it's very unique to gaming. Like, I'm not going to get Discord and talk to Quida, but in the gaming world, if you're on Twitch, it's kind of like a partnership there that the community uses. Another guy put together a promo video for him, does some video editing, and so it's like once you get started, again, your people just come around you, and so it's not just about the person you're watching anymore. Like you're saying, just to emphasize that there's so much that the rest of the community can pack in with and stand in the gap with their talents. That one streamer, my son didn't realize I don't have to play the game and stream and run the server and do. You don't have to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to it. It's more than like. It's just a good comment I want to emphasize is that don't be overwhelmed as a streamer. Like jump in and then let people fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But Britt, before you go on, run those schools back. Which schools?
Oh yeah, thank you. I do like the plugs for the schools.
Yeah, like hold up, wait a minute. When did that happen and who are they again?
It's happening right now. It is the official HBCU Esports League. They have a Twitch channel. They are going live once a week. They do 2K. They are building labs. I think they just donated $200,000 to Texas Southern University, and this is Community. And so it's Community is spelled CXMMUNITY. So instead of an O, it's an X there. And the X is, oh, please, chat. Tell me what you think the X is.
Community, yeah, no, I'm looking at it. CX, I don't know.
It's the
Is it like the inclusivity X? Like
no, the X from the controller. The original.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, but they got a circle on the controller.
Well, I mean,
no, that's cool. That's cute. No, but it's cute.
That's the universal. That's the only button that's universal
because
platforms.
That's true. But to your point, Quida, it's also in the eye of the beholder. So someone who sees it as that will feel welcome to the community because maybe they relate it to that. So that's perfect.
Yeah,
it's good marketing. Yeah,
that's what I saw when I said, "Oh, we covering up those here too," because that's how I spell folks, FX or FOLX.
Yes,
you know what I mean. But like, just put in the X in the word to know that hey, Latinx, all the
yes.
But anyway, go back, girl. Okay.
So the schools, the schools you're partnering with.
I'm naming. Okay. These are the schools that they have put together. Like this is the HBCU League. Is made up of several schools, and their schools include Johnson C. Smith, Morgan State, Howard University, and I'm not naming them all, but I know Morgan State, Howard, Johnson C. Smith are all a part of it, right? Let me tell you now. Texas Southern, I'm not sure if they're officially a part of the league, but I definitely know they just donated $200,000 to them to get an esports program.
And I think like the fact that one, college students are now getting paid for their likeness, and HBCUs are now being more included in college sports, and now like it warms my heart so
And
much.
let me tell you, like,
I love it.
we HBCOs, we're gonna crush esports. It's
Mm-hmm.
what we do as a community, right? Like, yes, I'm perceived as white, but I grew up in Baltimore and we're 70% black, and that was my childhood. My greatest moments was like weekends or in the summertime, entire weeks at your homeboy's basement, just camped out gaming, like no
Right.
sleep, no sleep. Mad when you got to walk to the store and get more cereal and milk because it's like, oh, we could be gaming. So we're good
Right.
at gaming, right? And even for kids who are even the nerdy kids who are not physically athletic are now finding success or finding their place where before our place was like, like I don't know, being an accountant or a lawyer or something. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're the new like star of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can fill out entire arenas with this stuff, right? So the schools are
Right.
Alabama A&M University, Claflin,
That's
Clark
gorgeous, man.
Atlanta, Coppin State, Delaware State, Fayetteville State, Florida A&M, Fort Valley State,
And
Kansas
you, baby.
University, Howard University, Johnson C. Smith, Langston University, Morgan State University, Morehouse, Morris Brown, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central. I mean, it goes on. Oakwood, Shaw, Tennessee State, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Wilberforce, and Norfolk State are all a part of the league.
I cannot. I cannot. That is just amazing. I love that.
So, when they first started, and honestly, they had been in the works for quite some time, but when they first started, we were among the first to really jump in and do some things with them. And I couldn't be more proud of the guys running this program. To see the heights that they've grown to is really, really, really exciting because I knew from the moment I saw them they were going to be something.
Right.
It was crazy, and not to mention that it came about. It was in the works before, but it came about during a time where we all had to sit home. So naturally, folks were looking for streaming content. So it really was just perfect timing when
Right.
preparation meets opportunity. Really,
Right. But it allowed folks to find community during the pandemic. So it was absolutely exactly what the community needed and what the community wanted at the right time. So that part, what were you going to add, Chap? I see you over there.
I look. I'm not in the habit of bullying my guests, so I won't roast you on this. But tell us because everyone tell us. I just want to back up and talk more about your gaming because the show is we do want to make. We are here to discover you and talk about you and this is like really fantastic information. Like, I can't wait to dive into this and share this with people. But you were saying that you play Fortnite and like
yeah.
at my rec center, Fortnite is banned. But go ahead and
Really?
tell us your. I'm kidding. I
No blood.
look. I played Fortnite when it first came out, and um, I fell off as they did the updates and stuff. But please tell us your experience. How did you get into Fortnite? And you said Call of Duty.
So during the pandemic, when we were all home, we were looking for games on the Switch, and my boyfriend's little sister, she at the time, they were all into Fortnite, and they were trying to get us to get into Fortnite, and I was trying to get them into Animal Crossing. So we just finding opportunities for family fun. Well, as we got into it, it started to become more of a competitive thing, and to be honest, it's really a cool opportunity for for us to be able to play and do cool things with family while we were all at home because everyone's in their own house. And so that's really how we started playing together. Since then, it's just become like a Friday night thing to do. So we do Fortnite Fridays on the stream sometimes.
That's
Um,
fun. That's fun.
yeah, and everyone jumps in and plays, and now it's become a thing. In addition to that, my line sister and I and my boyfriend AJ and a few of our cousins started a group called PGH because, to your point earlier, Chap, we always have to do adult things, right? And it's like, but to be honest
Yeah.
with you, the majority of people who game are millennials, and so millennials are adults now, right? So
Mm.
believe it or not, it's 50% male millennials, right? So, and all male, no matter what your ethnicity is. So now so now I think it makes sense, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like you have to be an adult. So where do you find the time, right? So
it's true. It's true.
so we started Fortnite Fridays.
That's cool.
And yeah, and so I have a stream. It's Hip Hop Cleopatra on Twitch and Hip Hop the Gamer on Instagram.
Okay.
Um
So I'm gonna look. You dropping a lot of knowledge on us. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. So I grew up with video games as you do. I still have my Atari like 50 feet from me in the basement here. People don't so one thing people don't know, Magnavox actually created a first home console in like 1962 called the what was it called? I don't remember the name of it, but like 1960s actually had a home console. People don't know
wow.
that. Yeah, so Atari takes all the credit. There's all it's like Rosa Parks. There's always someone that came before the real one, the one we know, right? There's the real one. But so let me ask you, how old do you guys think Nintendo is? It because this is going to blow your mind. I love this trivia.
Nintendo old, like
Yeah.
Nintendo's
I'm telling you.
auntie, uncle, like Nintendo 40 something.
The first
No.
one was in the early 80s, but in terms of console, but I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so Nintendo has been. So here's why I always buy Nintendo console first, and I always respect their hustle no matter what. They have been in business since September 23rd, 1889.
What? I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
Right, no one's
What
going
were
to
they
guess that.
making? And what were they
Playing
making?
cards, playing cards, handmade playing cards with characters like Toadstool, Princess, right? Like the characters remain, but they've been in business for like over 130 years. So I always
Wow.
respect Nintendo.
Wow.
That's
And
interesting.
you know what's so interesting? That means they truly understand
Yes,
gamification.
yes,
Yeah.
They
and
truly
and that's why they
just
also like
evolving.
yeah, their games are more family friendly. They're more
yes,
you
they
know
are.
a Nintendo game like who doesn't love Mario Kart, Mario Party,
Exactly.
like any of the Mario games, right? They're brilliant, but like their whole if it's their software and they're not contracting out to another company, it's guaranteed family fun because they understand entertaining people through gaming. They've been doing it over 100 years.
Yep, that's very true.
That needs to be
I'm
different.
not going to say what it is, but I got a console and I'm playing a game on there because it comes with the console, right? And I'm playing this game and I'm like, the basis of the game reminds me so much of Mario. And I'm like, you guys just copied off of Mario.
Mhm.
That's really what I mean. The way that it plays, the way that it moves, everything. It's just, I'm like,
And
this is Mario.
here's something else that would be really cool too. When I was working at Parks and Recs, I was showing kids how to. So there's a hobby computer called Raspberry Pi, and there's a way to program the Raspberry Pi, and they're like less than $40 each. You can use them as a game emulator, and so we were building these little computers, and they fit in your pocket. They're like this big, but these computers you could plug them into a TV with HDMI, plug in controllers, and we had a bank of like at one point 20,000 games, everything from like Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PS1, N64, like all of it would fit on this little computer, and the kids could make that for like $50
Oh
and then
wow.
take it home and have like all these retro games. It's such a cool thing that like we could use to incentivize. Like I just like who doesn't love gaming? I don't
So
know.
I wanted to say one thing because I realized that I lost my train of thought earlier. So thank y'all for
Sorry.
giving me grace. It came back. Sometimes you go on, you get excited about a topic and you go in one direction. I'm like, what was I saying again? PGH. We started PGH, Professional Gamers Hustle.
Okay.
And the reason why is because everyone in the group is a professional. Like we have adult lives.
Oh,
All
nice.
jobs you got to go to every day.
Real
So wait,
jobs
it's
we have
called
to go to every day. We don't do this. We're not trying to compete with you. We might play in tournaments for fun, for money, of course, if it makes sense. But what we realized, and my boyfriend and I joke about this all the time, is like we're playing with our like little cousins, their kids, they have nothing but time. Nothing but time. And at some point I realized I am not going to build and shoot and flip around on this game as well as one of these kids ever because I don't have that much time to put the practice in.
Right.
So there's a place for people like me.
It's called PGH.
Yeah, you're not gonna find it on we don't have a website yet.
No, I just want to join. I want to play.
You want to play? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
definitely private chat me your information or
Right.
your Activision and stuff, and definitely play with us. We play all the time.
Cool.
And everyone is a professional. Everyone is like not a professional gamer, like a
Right.
professional in real life.
Right. Got whole bills to pay. Okay.
Right. Whole
Gotta show
bills.
up at work all
Right.
day. All right.
Sometimes the kids come in and we be like, all right, yeah. They're like, wait, how old are you? You're 30? What are you doing on the game?
Right. Well, it was a thing. Look, it was a thing in my So I haven't been beaten in NBA jams
Oh,
in
wow.
like 30 years now. So every once in a while, we pull out the retro, and there was one of the kids. He's like 27. He's a kid to me because I've known him since he was in diapers. But he spent 3 months, took the game home, grinded it, spent 3 months, and he beat me and my partner by him and his partner beat me and my partner by 1 point. But it was after 38 hours straight of playing. He's like, no, go again, run it back.
He was gonna beat you
He
regardless.
beat me. He's the only one that's beat me in 30 years or 20. Yeah, 30 years, man. That was NBA
with
jams.
those odds, he was bound to have some kind of
Right.
at some point.
You don't understand.
Dog
Me and my
had
brother.
some
Look,
crew.
you've met.
He
I don't
tired
think
him out.
you've met Officer Anderson, right? Remember, Officer Anderson came out for the book bag giveaway.
Yeah.
That's my partner, bro. We were besides that fluke, we were undefeated in NBA jams and NFL blitz. I always lean towards the arcade versions of games, not the simulations, right? There was the blitz and turbo buttons and stuff, and then there's the Madden and 2K. So I was never, again, I just like you said, I never had time to finesse or put in on the simulated versions of the games. There's just too much going on. But I know kids who are articulate in sports because of those games. Like this one kid, Evan Anderson Jr. He's over in he's at a HBCU in Virginia. I forget, Hampton. And he could actually walk on the team right now. He could walk on an NBA court right now. He's one of the best basketball players you never heard of.
Oh, wow.
But it's because he didn't just have the physical talent, but that game created a strategic coach's mind just from playing the simulated version. He had this different perspective of the game that a child back in the 90s, his age, wouldn't have had access to that information, right? So it's kind of interesting to see their minds develop. The football, the kids can talk football so technically because of Madden. They are talking football with people who've been watching football for 50 years, and you're looking at them like, the hell did you what?
So that's what I mean. It's a big part of education, right? If people are realizing I can teach someone something with a game, with a simulation, i.e., your pilots. They're not jumping out there to fly a plane for practice. Right.
It's a simulation.
It's a simulation. It's
astronauts too.
Exactly. So at some point when right after the pandemic, I don't know if you guys remember, but airlines were looking for gamers to hire as pilots or to kind of put them in training. Do you guys remember that? That was kind of going around in the news about how I think it might have been Delta or American Airlines. I don't remember. But they were putting out their hiring, looking for pilots and folks that were, the young generation of pilots. And they specifically wanted gamers, folks that would really do well with their airplane simulation.
Right, because it would have been easier to train them. But that was at the time when COVID first started and people weren't flying and the airplane, their stocks were crashing, right?
Oh, they were losing 18 million a day.
Woo!
So that is the time. You might not remember the gamer piece, but you remember the catalyst that they were on. We have to be creative about the people that we're bringing in. We don't have 6 months to train these people up. What are we going to do? So that is great and interesting that this kind of created. And so now I'm wondering if that has anything to do with now, there has been a tick in female pilots, almost 12%, which is more than almost right. Exactly. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of correlation there. Because now, female pilots were oh, wait, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
I could be a pilot. That sounds like something I could get into when otherwise it wouldn't have been on their radar. So looks like something I need to look into.
I have a personal question, Miss Hip Hop Cleopatra.
Yes.
As a gamer, I see, you're casually competitive, I'm sure. I think our generation we're in both worlds, right? So we can game with the kids, but we can also sit down at the card table with the grown folks, right? Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
All right, all right. Because I was just curious, are you a spades player, poker, black? What do you do?
Say that. So so spades, not so much. Meaning, I know how to play, but I'm not the person that's like, "Hey, man, let's get a spades game rolling." you know,
I'm that guy.
I am. Yeah, I'm probably not that person, but I'll play. But I don't. I think what it is that I've never been that competitive that you get the one spades player that cares about your level of ability on the team before they add you to their team. I'm that person. If you're like that, don't pick me. But as a kid, I used to play things like Texas Rummy. I don't know if you guys remember you played Rummy before.
Mm-hmm. We used to play tonk. We used to play tonk. It's kind of like rummy.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that. But never a big cards play. I will say that if you take me to the casino, I might do the craps table and play dice. That was the thing when I was growing up. Everybody knew how to shoot dice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as far as it goes for me. Other than that, it was the video games. And I just sent you my gaming page on
cool.
Instagram, which is Hip Hop the Gamer.
So I can it's okay if I share those?
Yeah, you want to show the clips? I haven't put any new ones up, but I'm getting ready.
I don't know about the clips, but I'll definitely share the the link so people can check you out. Is that cool?
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Check me out. I play yesterday we tested out Call of Duty. I have to figure out my mic on this new system, but I'm getting back in the mix now that I am not as busy. Like
that
I
might,
said,
that might be an interesting conversation. What do you what kind of equipment do you use for streaming? Like how do you get started if someone's thinking about getting started? Where do you start?
Oh, so yeah, the first thing we did was get a gaming computer, a gaming PC. And
you're talking about like a video card. If you're streaming, do you use a capture card? Like break it down for us.
To stream the on the Switch, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what you're trying to do, right? If you're really trying to build out your stream, create overlays, and really like give your audience an experience. That's really the difference between you just being, unless you're just like a really great gamer, you're really nice and you're doing like epic tricks. I think what makes other people be interested in you is how well you put together your stream. So and so that was what mine was about. Mine was having a good time. And so we did things like play music. I would interview independent artists or artists who were in sync licensing. So thinking of people who you're playing Madden, you never think about the music that's in the background of the game. There are artists and labels that they partner with to put their music on there. You may have never heard of that artist, but they're right here in their backyard, right? So
absolutely
that kind of thing.
I'll share with you guys. So when I was a kid, I used to sing the national anthem at the Memorial Stadium a couple times, and I've sang and I've sang it the lyric a couple times at the BSO as a baby. Uh-huh. And one of the kids I grew up with and we sang with, his name's Onan Wilder. He arranged music for GTA 5. I didn't notice. He arranged music for Pitch Perfect, and he's from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how cool is that? Like we really, I just want to focus on that for a second. Is that Baltimore has just so much depth and talent that we overlook because we're so concerned about the the negative stories the media puts out, that like we're missing all the beauty, all the love, all the talent, all the artists. And a lot of times we take our artists and we pigeonhole them to the media that they're known for. But I want to acknowledge out loud that we know that if you're an artist and people know you for music, we know you're home hobby painting. We know that when you cook, you're being an artist. We know that everything that you do, your whole lifestyle is artistic, right? Like we don't always get to see that in Baltimore, but Baltimore's got some like this one guy at the little spot I go to, GLA Soundstage, that worked the doors for the longest time. I love this guy, this old dude named Chuck. And who knew until I saw a documentary episode like last week. He was signed by Earth, Wind, and Fire, and he used to recruit bands, put together bands, and play for them and stuff. And I'm looking, me and my wife are looking like, that's a little old Chuck. Like what? Like Baltimore's got so much, just so much.
So much comes out of Baltimore. There's actually a movie coming out. It's called More Than Hype. It's by a good friend of mine named Larry Caudle, who really kind of outlines and takes time to document some of the history here that people don't really know. Your writers, some of your favorite writers and favorite songs that you hear every day has come from a Baltimore songwriter. Your music that you hear, like for example, Kanye's "Man, I'm the
Mm-hmm.
Man Up in Here."
That's Baltimore.
Man, that's a Baltimore beat. That's originally a beat from Unruly, right? So you
Mhm.
just have so much Rod Lee. I mean, you just have so much
Oddly.
talent here.
But
And then
you-
I think that if you take a look at, if you have Netflix now, take a look at my girl TT the artist film, Dark City Beneath the Beat. I think that perfectly describes what you were just talking about, Chap, about how typically artists are pigeonholed here, but in that film, they just so beautifully illustrated the art and talent that is here every single day, making it happen, making it work in lifestyle entertainment here in our city. And they are, and that was put out there in oh my god, a phenomenal light, right? It was just phenomenal to me. It was so different, but also raw. And so I would encourage people to take a look at that film and just get a taste of what is happening
And it's
right
called
underneath your nose.
Say
More
the
Than
film
Hype.
name again.
It's called Dark City Beneath the Beat.
Dark City Beneath the Beat.
Yeah, one of the guys producers on there.
Larry Caudle, right?
Yep, Larry Caudle is doing the More Than Hype documentary that hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
But you'll check out clips of that. He is documenting any and everybody that came out of Baltimore. I mean, your Kevin Lyles, your Frank Johnsons, your Unruly Sean Caesar, like, you know, everybody, your DJs, even groups that you guys have probably never even heard of. They have been a part of records that you all love, that you didn't even know that folks were stopping right here in the 95 corridor, you know what I mean, to get their top 100 Billboard record done right here in your backyard.
Right.
And so it's definitely a rich history here. I mean, it makes sense though when you think about it. Pennsylvania Avenue, we know what it is now, but
Are we bringing it back? Don't worry.
Okay, you know what I mean. So
we're bringing it back for real.
I know. So it's like
June 11th. June 11th, we're having we didn't do it last year because of COVID, but June 11th, we're restoring the traditional legacy of the Cadillac Parade. We're calling it the historic Pennsylvania Avenue Parade, June 11th.
Wow.
So if you want to DTLR, if you want to support, we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Share details. Absolutely. Yep.
That's beautiful.
Welcome to the metaverse. I was going to ask you about that too when you guys were talking about.
So yeah, so that's one of our sponsors who really gives us the platform to talk to you, to talk to Baltimore and really other cities now that Donnie's built a great network with BlackUSA.News. All I can say is go check it out. And if you got the what do you call the virtual
Oculus?
If you got Oculus, it's driven for that, but you don't need it to use a space. Okay. But it creates STEM cities. It creates this little virtual city, and you can go in and just check out all the different partnerships they have. Like eventually, I think they have it set up. I don't know that it's active yet, but you can go in and like check out our news shows and our different streams and shows through there. But it's it's an Oculus experience, and they're kind of ahead of that trend because it's obviously going to grow and turn into more than what we know about it now. But I just say go check out the site. It's pretty interesting. And if you have Oculus, you'll have the premium experience.
Have you guys tried the Oculus yet?
I have not tried. So I'm not there. Like I'm a gamer. I will jump in any new games. Like I can bridge the gap.
Yes.
But then you start talking about virtual, and like I'm really checked out. I'm not interested in that yet in this season. No, especially when I watch all the little funny videos of people running into walls and doors and falling over.
No, especially after I've watched Black Mirror, I'm kind of like,
that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother episode. That's my joint. Joint, bro. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
that's like I'm gonna need
my own.
You need to watch Black Mirror. Yes, Quida, have you seen it? It's on Netflix.
Isn't it a series? Isn't it like a bunch of them?
The first one and the last one are really disturbing, but all the content in between is very it's really going to spin your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think I saw the first two and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, the first one's hard to watch. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's stick with it. It's got some good stuff, and this is a random thought that I wanted to share at some point in the show, and you know, I'm just enjoying listening to Brittany talk and stuff. But let me share this thought, this random thought that I heard this morning, and being perceived as white in Baltimore, in our community, being perceived, and this was kind of targeted towards allies, and Brittany, you don't know, and I've had a conversation with Quida before, where we've met young people that I've tried to support, that basically blow me off because I'm white, right? They're just like, or perceived as white. They're like, oh, we don't mess with white people, this and that. So coming from, but I can still learn from them, even though, you know, they've got room to grow. I've got room to grow. One thing I learned from them that was insightful for me introspectively is that, like, you know, Quita can testify. I mean, I got a whole city of family that will testify. Like, I love my city. I love my people. You know, that's just what it is. But a lot of times, even if it's not intentional, we can treat people of color being perceived as white in this context, people of color and women of color, or just women in general, we can treat people as a novelty in all of our efforts. And you know, again, Quita can kind of testify to all the things we try to do and serve and make the city a better place. And it's just really insightful to me. I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like a project. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm here to rescue anybody, or again, like, not treat anybody like a novelty. Like, you know, I'm neck deep in it with everybody else. I grew up in Baltimore. I was like the only white boy down to Alameda, right, in the 90s. So, you know, this is my city like
You
everybody else.
understand why that assumption is you've
Yeah,
been
no,
here
absolutely.
when
And
we've
so,
had conversations with guests, and I'm like, well, who told you they wanted that restaurant in that community?
yeah, that was a
Like,
good one. That was
you
a good
said
one, right?
the neighborhood are they're being jerks about it, but who asked them or you? Like, a conversation needed to have been had so that people feel heard. Like, so,
And yeah, so
that's what is constantly happening in the community. The people that are coming in the community and changing stuff up, they don't look like us. They look like you.
and so that was just my thoughts as we come out of Black History Month and we move into Women's History Month. And really, this shouldn't be just a month. Like, we should just teach history, right? But that's just my thoughts. For me, is that, like, you know, as a person perceived as white, not to make anyone feel like they're a novelty, or as men who are, you know, even the black men who are watching, don't treat our women like a novelty or a trophy. Like, you know, or even when sometimes we put them in context, oh, that's my queen, that's my queen. Like, yeah, but don't just make sure you know that they're not a thing, right? Like, I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say,
Right.
but it just, but
We're
that
not
thought struck me this
property.
Well,
morning.
you were gonna ask something, and then I think you were prefacing it with the idea of not treating things like a novelty. So,
Well, I guess I didn't really have a question there. I just wanted to share that thought, that insight for me that I received this morning. Because it really, like, I had, so later in the day, it's funny. One of my guys I grew up with in a white guy in the city, um, he's now a chaplain for the fire department somewhere in Iowa, right? Like, so I don't know that he sees any people of color, right? But he was saying all this really weird stuff, that, like, stereotypical white stuff. He's like, oh, I see all God's children the same, and I don't see race, or, like, you know, kind of like going towards the I have black friends conversation, right? And I was able to drop that knowledge on him. I was like, bro, guess what I heard this morning? Boom. And he's like, wow, I never thought of that. I said, yeah, man, you got to be careful how you build these relationships, because they're genuine, or they're like mine. Donnie gets mad. So our publisher gets mad because every time I introduce him to someone, they're my brother, my sister, my mother, my cousin. He's like, Dave, not everybody's your brother. I'm like, look, bro, if they're not family, they not coming with me. I don't even speak to them. Like, you're family or you're not, period. Right. So it's always funny because he's always reminding me, trying to cut back the fat in my family. And I'm like, no, bro, if I'm bringing people to you, they already family. They already vested. Like, they're already good to go. You know, if they weren't, you would never see them or meet them, because I don't spend time with them. I don't invest in people that aren't, like, spirit recognizes spirit is kind of what we say.
energy is real.
Right. Absolutely. So we only have 5 minutes or so left. So before we wrap up, Britt, is there anything that you want to share that you have coming up? Anything that's going on? And while she thinks about that, Chap, do we have any announcements after Brittany wraps up? So go ahead, Britt. Do you have anything that we need to watch out for, check into, subscribe to? Tell us.
Yeah, so honestly, constantly working, constantly have new things going on. So you can follow me at on Instagram or all things social, honestly, at hip hop Cleopatra, or you can follow my gaming page, Hip Hop the Gamer, on Instagram. One or the other would definitely I'll pop up. It's been that for a while. I just want to say thank you guys for having me. It's been a very interesting conversation, and thank you for granting me space to share and just converse with you all about gaming, something that I'm interested in and passionate about. I'm also just kind of, talking to some Baltimore natives and really getting to kick it with you guys and be authentic about what's going on in our city and have a good conversation. You don't get to do that often. So, and also shout out to you guys for the work you're doing in the community.
We do what we can. I keep telling you, all I do is show up and people tell me what to do. So,
yeah.
Yep. Okay, so Hip Hop Cleopatra or Hip Hop the Gamer on all the things. Look up hip hop and you'll see Britt's beautiful face and or a logo of some sort. You guys will know.
Yep.
Okay, I like it. I love it. And then one day, someday, you're gonna open up your game Fridays to the rest of us, right?
So we can actually do it. Like I'm literally Hip Hop Cleopatra on everything. You can find my PSN, you can find my Activision ID. It's all of those things.
All right. When people show up,
I know. Now shoot me a note or a whisper or something and just let me know, hey, I hit you on, on the game or Activision so I can find you and know who you are. Because if it's just, I'll leave you sitting there if I don't know who you are.
Right.
So, because I'm not, I'm definitely.
Well, I'll tell you now. My gamer tags is usually on Xbox and PlayStation. It's a guy with no skills.
Okay, cool.
With a Z at the end, so that way when I get on these games, nobody has any expectations of anything besides me just showing up.
A guy with no skills.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at you showing up as the underdog.
So he's the pool player that really knows how to play, but hustle people at the pool table.
Yeah. I see you, hustler.
He's hustling us, guys.
So I do have announcements real quick. Robert Report's coming on at 8. This dude he's got some great guests and great platform. I would say, guys, start looking at June 11th. Mark your calendars for the historic Pennsylvania Avenue Parade. We're going to show up and show out. We're just back in action, and it's something we're going to continue. And then September, end of September, we'll be doing Power Fest, and we'll talk more about that as we lock in and confirm, permitting and locations and things like that. So we'll keep you posted, but definitely June 11th is the next big thing. And always support smalltomorehomes.org, breadcoin.org, and powerfestbaltimore.org. And of course, BlackUSA.News. Thank you, Doni, for everything. Big bro just looks out for the whole city, man. That's the real mayor. Don't tell Brandon.
Okay.
Big facts. And we'll be back next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you, Hip Hop Cleopatra. We can't wait to have you back on.
Yes, please.
It was
pleasure,
awesome, guys.
Love you guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.